President Tinubu empowers poverty eradication program and developing countries to get financial aid to address climate change effects. And in our discussion segment, maternal and child mortality in focus. Welcome to NTA Benin, and this is Panorama. It's reaching you live from the Nigerian Television Authority. Please stay with us. The quest by the current administration towards poverty eradication has been given a boost as President Bola Tinubu has approved the Presidential Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation Trust Fund. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edu, disclosed this at the high-level side event at the 78th United Nations in New York. State House correspondent Musbau Dan Wahab reports.
These ones, somewhere in Nigeria, are part of the more than 16 million people caught in the web of humanitarian crisis. They have in turn joined the list of Nigerians below the poverty line. More than half the population of the country are in this category. And they become... This is part of the humanitarian challenges Nigeria has taken onto the world stage as it calls for help.
We have a serious situation on our hands in Nigeria.
Nigeria's government had initiated many social intervention programs to tackle poverty. The Presidential Humanitarian and Poverty Alleviation Trust Fund is the latest measure aimed at expanding the social safety nets.
30% of the fundings expected in this trust fund will be coming from the government of Nigeria, and it's expected that the rest of this funding comes from other nations, the United Nations, donor agencies, philanthropic individuals, private sector, who we want to bring fully into the space, amongst other forms of innovative fund raising. The essence is for us to be able to adequately address the issues which we face on ground as a matter of urgency.
And beyond this demonstration of commitment, the government is building partnerships as it searches for a durable solution.
We are bearing on the whole brunt of this terrible thing. The world needs to know that we do not have the capacity to address it alone.
Prioritizing the needs of women and girls and the most vulnerable is at the heart of durable solutions.
The most difficult aspect of the protection and care needed for the internally displaced is the durable and integrated solutions. Your government's framework on durable solutions is an answer to that call by our Secretary General. It puts Nigeria in the vanguard of the 16 pilot countries identified for durable solutions under that agenda.
So the sustainability is what the entire conversation has been on. So how we can pool resources together and then provide tangible solutions that will actually take people out of the IDP camps.
Leadership is important for everything to fall in place. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has taken up the charge and is providing that strong leadership for development to occur.
The United Nations maintains poverty alleviation remains the bedrock towards attainment of the rest of the Sustainable Development Agenda, and Nigeria also realizes it must get this foundation right. From New York, Musbau and Wahab, NTA News.
On the sideline of the ongoing United Nations General Assembly in New York say operationalizing the loss and damage funds to developing countries adversely affected by climate change is critical to the fulfillment of the conference of the parties COP27 in an attempt to build resilience. Charles Alpha reports.
The ministerial consultations sought to garner political engagements to advance consideration and understanding of possible outcomes at COP28 in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Governments from around the world at the ministerial consultation agreed that time is of the essence to bridge the funding gaps and adaptation the countries in dire need of the loss and damage funds. The funds and funding arrangements, they believe, require its operationalization to focus on possible robust framework that will deliver on the action and agreements from COP27, as well as impact livelihood and build resilience in the developing world.
Diverse funding sources is critical, but what I beg is that you look at simplicity and expediency.
In this vein, I would like to commend the work of the Transitional Committee tasked with providing recommendations for our consideration at COP28.
For Nigeria and Africa, it is all about inclusive governance and commitment by the developed world and private sectors, who are the biggest contributors to the climate change, to commit towards the operationalization of the loss and damage fund. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Toga, in a bilateral talk with his counterpart from Belarus, agreed to forge a mutually beneficial relationship crucial to President Tinubu's 8-point agenda. The minister also met with the Secretary General of the Organization of African, Caribbean and Pacific States on the sidelines of the ongoing 78th United Nations General Assembly in New York. Garba Nata'ala reports.
From the exchange of pleasantries to becoming compatriots from another end, in exploring better opportunities for the two countries, Nigeria and Belarus now foresee a prosperous future in addressing each country's concerns in healthcare, education, ICT and agriculture, as well as strengthening the bilateral ties between the two countries. Establishing a framework for political consultation is of utmost importance to deepen democracy in both countries, as emphasized by the Belarusian Foreign Affairs Minister, Sergei Alinik, and extends an invitation to Nigeria's minister to visit Belarus for more inclusive collaboration. Yusuf Toga equally had an audience with Georgia's Rabelo Pinto Chikuti, the Secretary General of the Organization of African, Caribbean and Pacific States. The meeting was worthwhile, with commitments to continue building on the already existing relationship crucial to the organization, comprising 79 African, Caribbean and Pacific states.
We have a lot of Nigerians living all over the world, and it is important that they have a good impression of Nigeria. This is why, our embassies, our missions all over the world need to provide qualitative services to cater to their needs.
The minister expressed optimism that the diaspora under the organization can contribute meaningfully to development through remittances and pledged his support. From New York, Garba Muhammad Natala, NTA News.
Value reorientation for sustainable growth is the reason the Minister of Information and National Orientation continually solicits increased partnership with change agents. This time, Mohammed Idris, represented at the Association of Advertising Agencies of Nigeria's annual general meeting, is asking all Nigerians to key into the present administration's renewed hope agenda for the required growth. Benny Adams reports.
These images and sounds that often evade your spaces with the intent of selling products and ideas also go a long way in shaping perceptions. For the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, he is of the view that the messages we craft should reflect values and our culture in addition to ideas that promote sustainable economic development.
We therefore need the support of all veritable change agents in the formal, informal and the private sector to move our great nation in the direction of sustainable growth in all frontiers of our economy. In this direction, we are soliciting for the cooperation of the AAAN in keying into the renewed hope agenda of this administration and support government commitment to the value orientation of citizens.
The advertising industry will partner effectively with other key players, other key sectors of the creative economy to create exponential growth that will benefit all players in the sector, whilst positioning our creative economy as a key contributor to Nigeria's GDP.
Even in the midst of these turbulent times, I firmly believe that the future of our industry holds great promise. By standing united as members of the same family, we can navigate these challenges and emerge stronger.
Attaining the golden age, the advertising practitioners say, is a journey that will witness impactful reforms for national development. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
In case you're just joining us, this is Panorama and it's reaching you live from the Nigerian Television Authority NTA Benin Network Center. It's time for a break. When we return, more news. Please stay with us.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
For staying with us. Poor maintenance culture is partly blamed for the deterioration of public infrastructure and facilities in Nigeria, and some Nigerians believe that the country has all it takes to ensure that infrastructure and public utilities are in good shape at all times. In this report, Jude Abugu takes a look at the imperative of cultivating maintenance culture by Nigerians.
Nigeria ranks low when it comes to the culture of maintaining infrastructure and public assets. There is also misconception among Nigerians that what belongs to government belongs to nobody. As wrong as this notion can be, it still reflects in the attitude of many Nigerians towards public utilities.
If we take care of the things that we are using, it will encourage the government to supply more. But if we are wasting it, which is the money that they will use to do another thing, they will now use it to repair that things, and it's not good. That is wasting of money and resources.
When you have this maintenance culture to clean your environment, clean your gutters, then you'll be surprised that this water that is accumulating and causing problem, they'll flow away.
Although experts agree that it is a standard practice in engineering to subject public infrastructure to routine maintenance, upgrade, and reinforcements. However, the reverse is always the case due to lack of funding.
What I think as government we have to do is create new policies, and we should ensure policies in order to help for the maintenance of our infrastructure.
Imbibing the culture of maintenance, respondents say, will not only save Nigeria billions of naira, but we also help in preserving the public assets to serve the purpose government has in mind. In Benin, Jude Abugu, NTA News.
And now to health matters. Poor access to healthcare facilities and underutilization of effective reproductive health care system, sociocultural practices, among others, have been listed as causes of maternal and child mortality in Nigeria. To however reverse the trend, stakeholders canvass multidisciplinary and collaborative research, advocacy and training on issues relating to the reproductive health of women. Udakobong Achibong has more on the report.
Latest WHO report indicates that Nigeria accounts for 29% of the global toll in 290,000 maternal death cases every year. Access to health care facilities and other economic and sociocultural factors are mentioned as propellers of the situation.
Ignorance, because some of these women, most of these women, they don't appreciate clinical care. We call it English care. Okay. But what they appreciate more of traditional care. In the traditional care, they are good, but they are not too good to care for some complications.
Pregnancy in all its stages comes with challenges or complications. This is why pregnant women are urged to take obstetrics seriously.
First trimester, they can have some complications like miscarriages, they can have ectopic pregnancy, they can have what we call molar gestation. And this needs several interventions that we save this woman's life, or otherwise it can have and they can lead to maternal mortality.
The global call for more commitment to reducing maternal, newborn and stillborn mortality in line with SDG 2030 goals, experts say must be given priority attention.
We are carrying out advocacy. That means trying to educate people on what to do, what to avoid, and how to go about it. So all of these are what we are doing in order to ensure that we reduce maternal mortality.
Build more facilities and equip them, employ doctors and midwives who are capable of taking care of these women. Importance of antenatal care in the hospital or where have the minimum personnel to take care of them.
They also demand efforts geared towards the protection of infants under 5 years from death, mostly caused by pneumonia, malaria, and diarrhea. In Benin, Udrakobong Achibong, NTA News.
To discuss more on this salient health issue, we have in the studio with us this afternoon Head of Obstetrics and Gynecology from the University of Benin Teaching Hospital, Professor Nusahai Enauna. Sir, Prof, you're welcome to Panorama.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right, so when we talk about maternal and child mortality, how do we unravel the concept of maternal and neonatal as well as child deaths within, Nigeria?
Thank you very much. The issue of maternal, newborn and child mortality is such an emotionally charged topic because the death of a woman while attempting to express a God-given physiological process of getting pregnant and having a baby is so distressing, not just for the woman's family, but for the healthcare provider as well as the society at large. So what we know is that a healthy woman will ultimately give birth to a healthy baby, and she will be alive to nurture that baby and cater for it to remain healthy. But this is often not the case. So what we find is that a woman during pregnancy suffers severe complications that are not either treated or are not recognized or are poorly treated, and she ends up as a mortality. So the situation is intertwined. It is what leads to the death of the woman that will also be a reason why the baby will die in the womb or die shortly after delivery, and may ripple into the fact that the baby doesn't lead a useful life even in childhood. And so the situation is so discouraging. Maternal mortality, perinatal mortality is a worldwide phenomenon. It's not unique to us as Nigerians. But the challenge is that we are disproportionately represented in the figures. Whereas about 500,000 women die annually worldwide, over 65% of such deaths occur in sub-Saharan Africa alone. And today, we know that Nigeria probably contributes close to 20% of world figures when it comes to maternal death. So it's such a major challenge for us in this part of the world.
Some blame poor access to healthcare, Prof. Healthcare facilities, cultural practices. What's your view on this?
That's correct, truly, because a lot of factors have been adduced to why we have maternal mortality. Okay, the cultural limitations are quite obvious to healthcare access. Individuals also have their own challenges of seeking care and accessing the right care. And of course, there are health system problems. The hospitals sometimes are not equipped enough to tackle some of these problems. And so on an individual basis, we can tease out some of the risk factors for maternal death. For example, poverty. It's a big issue. Many people now think that the major causes of maternal mortality are related to poverty, and they are correct. Conditions like preeclampsia, bleeding during pregnancy or shortly after delivery, and a woman who has infection. These are the three big causes of maternal death in our environment. They also happen in other parts of the world, but not to the same level that we have it in our environment. And what speaks to that clearly is the fact that these women are poor and are not economically empowered to be able to seek care at the right time. And so culture shows very clearly in the causation of maternal mortality. Then the individual as a person is also a problem. What about the healthcare system itself? Where hospitals are either too far from the individual, or there are not enough means to get to the hospital when the need arises. Because the major causes of death in pregnant women is about severe complications that are not attended to on time. And so we need to...
That's where we come to manpower availability.
Severe complications that are not arrested, and so they just develop into more serious situations and easily lead to death in the woman as well as the baby. So on the individual person's level, education is also a key factor. Women who are educated are more likely to seek care at the right time. They're more likely to take care of themselves. They're more likely to be healthy, and they're more likely to give birth to a healthy baby. So you can look at how many babies they've had. Women who deliver too frequently, too early, or too late are also a challenge. A woman is having a baby every year. She's going to consume her resources as a human being to be able to cope with the next pregnancy. Or a young lady goes into a pregnant situation too early. She's only 15. She's supposed to still be growing as a child, but she's also carrying a baby. It drains her as a human being. Or women who are already over 45 years of age attempting to get pregnant, and they may already have medical conditions that can be complications in pregnancy. So these are all factors that come into the situation.
All right. So your recommendation on how to, promote women's reproductive health, improving maternal healthcare system in Nigeria. Briefly, Prof, what's your recommendation?
There have been many interventions in the past that have helped in addressing some of these issues. Safe Motherhood Initiative came, it did a lot, and we went into the Millennium Development Goals as well as the currently applied Sustainable Development Goals. They all have targets that people can work toward. But on the basis of what we can do as a nation, we do have enough to take care of what we have to do. May not be enough. We do have the resources, but may not be enough. So how much do we use what we have? The first thing is universal health coverage. Can we attain that? Can we achieve it? It will go a long way. What about primary health care development, which is the basic health facility that is closest to the people, where they live? They don't have to travel far. So if we can focus seriously on universal health coverage and primary health care systems development, we would have taken care of most of the challenges that have to do with maternal health and newborn health.
Many thanks, Professor Nosakai Enauna, for joining us today and putting your input on this topic.
And having me.
Yes, sir. And now let's go to sports, where we have stories with Omoyemi Onobo.